Welcome, everybody, to 1 Million Cups Thanksgiving Eve edition. Who's here for the first time? Whoa, it's like half the crowd. Well, hey, thanks for coming, everybody. So I'll tell you all about it. For those of you who are here for the first time, here's how 1 Million Cups works. Every week we have 2 presenters. We each give them 6 minutes to talk about themselves, and then 20 minutes of Q&A. They do the A part, you guys do the Q part. So as everybody's speaking, be sure to think of great questions. When the Q&A part comes around, just raise your hand. One of us will come around with a microphone and stick it in your face. So that's how that works. Let's see, what else do we usually talk about in the morning? We always like to thank our folks at Kaufman for providing this awesome space. We want to particularly thank them today because I don't think this is an official Kaufman Day. Nate, is that true? Nate doesn't know, because Nate's here all the time. Is this a working day at Kaufman? Okay, never mind. So they're just working like they normally do. To heck with that. All right, so at any rate, thank our folks at Kaufman. Let's get on with our first presenter. So, movies, television, who doesn't like them? Jeez, you guys, you're killing me. Small audience, you all just sit there thinking about turkey. And you got one right up here. All right, so at any rate, our first presenter is a regular from 1 Million Cups. We see him here every week, Mr. Stephen Fuller. He is going to tell us all about CinemaKC and the great work they're doing to support filmmakers here in the Kansas City market. Please welcome Stephen Fuller.
All right, this works. I'm not mic'd up, so I'm gonna stand right here and wave my hands around. Yes, let's take it. All right, CinemaKC is a 501c3 not-for-profit here in Kansas City. Our mission is to support and showcase the local film community, both in a digital format as well as in a physical space through our community events and monthly screenings. This is the promo for season 3.
This is getting crazy.
Need a film fix? Catch CinemaKC.
I can't wait another minute.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Erin, your host of CinemaKC. We showcase films that you'd normally only see in a film festival. Award-winning documentaries.
There's a difference between your gender and your sexuality.
Narrative films.
The things that attracted me to it the most was this kind of shadowy nature.
And you don't even have to leave your couch.
I'm not afraid.
It's like your own personal film festival.
Oh.
Right here on Kansas City Public Television.
All right, as I mentioned, CinemaKC is in its 3rd season. This is our first year as a non-for-profit. The television show airs on KCPT, 10:30 on Thursdays and 5 o'clock on Sundays. The goal of CinemaKC, like I said before, is to showcase the local film community. So how many people in here are filmmakers, have worked on a film, have worked in television, web series, anything like that before? So a good deal. To the business community that's here, these are the people that are telling your stories every single day. This is where the stories are going to come from about Kansas City, and are going to showcase the growing community that we have here in Kansas City. And what we would like to do, and what we want to talk to you guys about today in the next 4 minutes, is how we can bridge that gap between the explosive growth that is going on in the startup community here in Kansas City right now, and the film community that is already top tier that maybe you don't know about. Now, when you saw the promo video for season 3, how many of you saw a little bit more than what you would expect when you think of local film? Because every one of those short pieces that was in that promo is from a larger short or animation or web series that was done right here in town. So what CinemaKC does is twice a month, we do one community event and we do one screening with a local filmmaker. Not many people know that in Kansas City annually, according to research that was just done by the Film Commission, there's about $120 million in revenue done right here in Kansas City. In the state of Missouri, that's around 350 million throughout the state. That's a lot of economics that we're pushing out right here in Kansas City. And outside of the city, we are very recognized for our filmmakers. What CinemaKC wants to do is give our filmmakers here in town a platform for them to present themselves and to present you. We want you guys to also look at those filmmakers for your next project. When you're getting ready to showcase your business, when you're getting ready to make your next web series, when you're getting ready to make your next commercial, or to do something to showcase your business or Kansas City, we want that work to stay here. There are advertisers from out of town that come in and they make movies and they make ads and they do stuff all the time, but you have amazing talent right here in town. And that's what CinemaKC wants to help showcase. This year, we are looking to grow and expand our community events. This last summer, we were able to partner up with The Whole Person. We were able to bring open caption movies back to Kansas City. We did events all throughout the summer at Boulevard Drive-In, where we did the open caption movies for the deaf and hard of hearing community. This was a problem that we didn't even know really existed. It was something that had never occurred to me until we were there and we had families coming up to us saying they had never seen a movie with their children in the theater before. Let that sink in a little bit. Like, that really gave us pause and was something that we wanted to get behind. And the more we got involved, the more we wanted to do, and now we're looking everywhere. What else can we do? What other community events can we help facilitate and get involved in? We have a couple of things that we want to do this next year. One of the things that we would like to talk to you guys about sometime is we want to help facilitate and curate a Black History Month screening for the entire month of February this year. We want to do big events, big gala events. We want to do a big Oscars versus Critics event where we have all our critics circle from here in Kansas City, and we can talk about the Oscar movies and bring you guys in and bring the public in and showcase not only the film work that's being done, but also the other types of work here within film. Because you don't think, not only is it the people making film, the independent filmmakers, the photographers, but the people on the ground, the other industries that are affected. When a film comes into town, when a local filmmaker makes a film, they're buying food. They have locations. They're staying in hotels. They're traveling. They're getting gas. That $120 million that's done on the advertising and on the big movie level also has a trickle-down effect right here in town. This Friday, the film credits for the state of Missouri expire. And I don't know if anybody knows what that means. I've only got 2 minutes left today, but I urge you to look at the article that was posted in the Kansas City Star yesterday. In Kansas, those film credits expired in 2012. We're letting them go away here in Missouri, potentially losing and definitely cutting back on the $120 million injection into the economy here in Kansas City and the over $300 million that goes into the film community and back out into the state every year. That is a lot of money. That is a big, big effect on the economy. I think that what I would like to do is to see everyone in here get with our local film community and help it to grow, foster our talent that is right here in town, use our available talent pool to not only grow the film community, but to also grow your businesses. So again, the next time that you're looking and you're reaching out, we want you to come to one of our organizations. My time's up here. I want to list off everyone you can think of here in Kansas City. We have the IFC. What the IFC does is they help to foster the growth of the independent filmmakers. They connect them with the materials that they need. They provide education, and they also teach. There's a lot of stuff going on. They meet every Wednesday at Westport Coffee House. The Women in Film and Television here in town does exactly what it sounds like they do. They promote female filmmakers right here in Kansas City. The Film Commission's job is to bring that revenue growth into the city. And then what CinemaKC does is we want to take those local independent filmmakers and we want to showcase their work not only locally and through our television show, but also online and potentially on an international stage.
Thank you, Stephen.
For the question and answer portion, I would like Jerry, who is the president of CinemaKC, to come up. Justin, would you mind coming up? Justin Gardner. John, could you come up and represent filmmakers up here as well? We have John Davis. All of these gentlemen have made films right here, and I can talk about the marketing and I can talk about the money, but if you guys want to know CinemaKC's impact right here in this city in the last couple of years, these are the guys that can talk about it. There are more people out in the audience. Again, if you're a filmmaker, could you please raise your hand so that when we're done here today, the rest of the audience members can find you?
All right. Nadine and Kathy, do you want to come up as well? Do you want to come up and, if you have anything to weigh in on, let us know. Yeah, it's Thursday nights at 10:30 and Sundays at 5 o'clock at PBS.
All right, I got a question for you right over here.
All right, so I think most of us know that nonprofit does not mean non-revenue. So how do you guys fund and support these events that you're doing for the community?
Great question. We hope that question is coming. I appreciate it. I'm gonna catch it. Nice lob. Here's how we've done things so far and why we're up here speaking to you guys today and what we're doing, knocking doors every day of the week right now. This organization and this fantastic television show is done on a completely volunteer basis. Our partners, T2, which is now Hint, and Outpost, really, really support us. They give us the location, they give us access to their staff, they give us access to their equipment, and we are looking for underwriters and partners for our television show right now. We have ad space at the beginning and the end of each show. We have ad space online that is available, and we are reaching out over the next 3 to 4 months to partner up with businesses who are interested in helping with the growth of this community.
Question for you way here in the back, unless you had an additional answer.
Oh, no, I was just thanking for the question.
All right, question here in the back.
Well, I just wanted to know, do you or would you be interested in working with local musicians as far as the scoring and soundtracks of these events?
Yeah, everything we're trying to do now wants to reach out to a multi-tier of different disciplines in the arts. And one big thing we're trying to do next year is connect with all aspects of art, music, fine art, ballet, everything. We want to also bring a unity to the arts scene in Kansas City through film. So yes to music and everything.
We do events with CinemaKC. I'm here for the Film Commission in CinemaKC. We do events based on famous music. So we do the 11/11 event with Spinal Tap. Yeah, I guess that's famous. Famously bad. And then Beatles, 50th anniversary of A Hard Day's Night. Yeah, so we do events like that already, so definitely, we're gonna be doing more of those, but when you see those, please come out, please support them, please share them on your social networks.
So I have a question over here, actually, and definitely encourage more questions in the room, but what are the biggest challenges that as you guys are, you're starting to brainstorm about a new project, you're starting to go into actually creating something new, what are the biggest challenges that you guys see in front of you to actually produce the content? I mean, once you've produced it, then we're looking to support, frameworks that allow it to spread. But what are the biggest challenges that you have?
You're talking about producing the content as in the show?
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest challenges is just getting us into the global network, and that's what we're really looking to do. We're looking to we've looked into this as far as, are we the only people doing this? And as far as we can tell, we're one of the few cities that are actually showcasing our filmmakers. And we have a very specific and unique voice of filmmakers here. So what we're trying to do is get us into a global consciousness, I think. I think that's one of the main goals.
We're also working on partnerships here in town with other people who are interested in doing things like putting Kansas City on the map by creating a local network where we could showcase more of the stuff that we get. And some of that it's been slow going up to this point until you make the right connections, right? So Aaron Deacon introduced us to Kurt McMillan at StoryTorch, and we're working on a project right now where we can take not only the content that we have here and the content that we've accumulated over years of curating different events and festivals, but also all of the film that's being shot. How can we put it on television? How can we put it online? And how can we make it available? We have people producing artwork here in town every single day. Google Withered World TV, Google Vampire Cop Doctor. It's going to be the funniest thing you watch this year. Go ahead and Google Justin's working on Death's Dance Card. Get ready for that. Jerry just wrapped up one called, Hooked? Yeah. Go ahead, Google Hooked and check it out. There's stuff that's going on right here, but besides just putting it out on YouTube, where else can we get it? And StoryTorch is working with us to help facilitate how we can get that out to television, how we can get it out to the web.
So from just the standpoint of making the content too, there's a lot of institutional support for the fine arts here in Kansas City, but there's virtually no support financially when you talk about grants or anything like that for filmmaking. Filmmaking isn't necessarily seen as kind of that same level, but it is. You know, and it's actually commercially viable too. It's very commercially viable. So filmmaking is kind of a family in town. We all help each other out. We all volunteer on each other's projects. None of us are really making any money, you know, when it comes to our when it comes to our. I've lost money. Yeah, absolutely. It comes out of our own pocket. But we're like Stephen was saying before, we're telling your stories. You know, the creative crossroads, this idea of this cultural center of America, the way that story is going to get out there is via these films. Not necessarily the live events. We have to do those things, absolutely, but the filmmakers are the ones that then tell the stories. So, great question, thank you.
And dance, symphony, theater, all the old school arts in Kansas City are reliant upon the grants and all the funding that comes toward them. We're trying to become a tier of consideration for that as well.
Question for you over here.
Hi, CinemaKC.
Hey.
So I'm a big fan of the project. It's always on my DVR. But on that note, a question of accessibility of local film. Web series are huge right now. For folks that are into film, we get to see it where we want it, when we want it. And that's what we love about CinemaKC. I'm curious, do you ever see yourselves at a point when you'll be able to see the full-length shows, full-length films outside of the shorts, and where the direction with the organization is with that, being able to get it? Great job being in KCPT right now. We've got to give credit to those guys because that's where you should be. We'd love to see you there.
We're trying to become a short film mecca because we seem to have a skill in doing that, and for whatever reason, that seems to be what's rising to the surface. There are a number of people, of course, making features in Kansas City, and we try to do as much as we can to expose them as well. One of the long-term goals is to have a long-format show that is able to encompass the entire feature, and that's what we're talking about as well with the KCPT right now, as well as the film festivals, of course, and those are pretty much the only avenues. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are making a lot of features on a regular basis yet. So.
Question up here in the front.
Hi, CinemaKC. I'm so glad you're here. I'm a speaker and writer, and social media has been invaluable to me to promoting my work and especially my book. And my question to you is, how are you using, it seems like there's an expert already, how are you using social media to promote your cause, to promote your work, and to promote film?
Well, it's basically, I mean, pretty much all we're using, you know, beyond the outreach that we're doing. I started the social media for CinemaKC. Stephen has been shepherding it right now. But that's basically it. I mean, we put out press releases, but the press coverage is, you know, can be sporadic. We built our own audience online, and we push it out to them every week. So we keep on pushing those messages out. Beyond that, there just really aren't a lot of avenues for people to, besides the TV show or the TV commercials on KCBT, there just really aren't a lot of avenues to do any sort of enhanced promotion for the show. Absolutely. We do have a website as well, CinemaKC.com, where you can view full-length episodes of the first and second season.
Yeah, seasons 1 and seasons 2 are both available right now at CinemaKC.com. We have a YouTube channel with YouTube's recent changes. There's a little bit of a snafu in that. They took all of the television show and gave it to Jerry's personal account. So we're trying to get that worked out right now, but you can view them on our website today, as well as some other shorts. And I wanted to, speaking on the social media, John and Justin both worked on, and Jerry acted in a recent web series that was done here called Withered World, which got an incredible amount of acclaim nationally and wasn't very well known here in Kansas City. All of it via social media. The web series, different web series websites picked up on it on Twitter and started reviewing it and blasting it out. And it went from literally like one episode had 200 views to by the time Pop-Tarts came out, I think it hit 6,000 within a few days. And we did live interviews over Twitter with the filmmakers, which John participated in, also Bryce Young, who was the creator of the project. There were a total of 12 directors working on this web series together. You gotta think about that, the collaboration that it took for them to get together 12 different creative minds here in Kansas City and to do an episode a week from April to October. It really was a phenomenal project, and again, mostly the attention was powered by social media.
Question for you right here.
So in August, I saw Connecting for Good send out a tweet that they just took a $5 down payment on a $60 notebook from a senior citizen that was his first computer. And what I happen to think sitting here today is if you could take and interview some people from Connecting for Good, interview the people that have gotten the computers, how has it changed their life to be connected to the internet, and do a series on that. It's a win-win situation where you could promote them and also gain visibility for your organization.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Bob. And from our social media conversations and promoting the show the way that we did, I believe John has made a connection here from coming to 1 Million Cups. You're possibly working on a documentary short?
Yeah, I've talked to the guys at Local Start about doing something for them, and they're great. They promote locally made goods, which is awesome. So yeah, I mean, from projects like this, and you know, like Stephen touched on, the goal is to turn what we do on the film side and trying to make that more commercial and connect with the business side of things as well.
Question here.
Okay, I just wanted to expand on one of the questions. When we have our short films, we are building up an audience for those artists in the area. And then when they do a feature film, we often, if there's a request for it and they want to do so, we will partner with Screenland at Crown Center, and we will have their feature films. Right now showing is Gangland Wire. That's showing the rest of this week, is that correct? So we do show the feature films through Screenland at Crown Center. And once you see some of these artists on their short films, you will want to see their feature films.
And I think that is a great point, is when we think of local film, and when I first started getting involved in this project, I think my mind throws me back to, black and white, Clerks, grainy, maybe a little long on the words to watch. The stuff that's being produced right now is so far beyond what you're thinking about. We have pilots being shot for Cartoon Network right here in town, and we have animation that should, when I saw the stuff that Jerry and Justin had curated for Fringe this year, I was blown away. We have animation that should have been on television yesterday coming out of graduates from the Art Institute. There's really a lot of amazing work going on right now. And again, that Gangland Wire is a great example. Documentary shot here in town from a local police officer, had access to all the wiretaps from when the mafia ran things in Kansas City, turned it into a documentary. That is 1:45 and 6:30 p.m. daily at Screenland through the end of this week.
Question for you right here.
Hi, guys. Question. Are you working with local universities at all, with UMKC or KU film departments?
Yeah, well, all of them. Actually, we featured in every episode, every season of CinemaKC so far, we've done academic tie-in to all those universities. We've been trying to showcase the different programs. And to go back and emphasize, Stephen touched on, it's really huge that we encourage the people that are coming out of the training that we have here, which are many facilities teach great filmmaking courses. We have to provide a basis for those people to stay. And so that's what we're trying to do, is lay a bedrock that they can get out of school and go, I'm going to stay in Kansas City and work here and bring revenue here. Because most people, once they get out of these great facilities, they leave, they go to other places. So they have, you know, we need to provide the incentive for them to stay here. That's a big push of what we're doing.
Well, you know, I couldn't give up an opportunity to ask my brother a question. I know we all just wait to give the questioner questions, but I know just from how much time I spend with Stephen, the passion that is wrapped up into CinemaKC, and have just really enjoyed learning more about the projects that we have here. I know that the Language Project is working with Stephen and Fuller Creative to start looking into doing some commercial, doing some shooting, and we've been in conversation about that. Do you guys have experience shooting some footage like that? And I know you said something about maybe moving into a sort of commercial side. Can you guys talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think John should speak to this, but CinemaKC is not such a production facility as much as we are a facilitator and a showcase. The thing we produce is the show, and we'll probably produce some other content down the road. But right now, we're not so much the production aspect of it. We're just trying to show everybody's work.
I mean, I've been doing video and film production the past 10 years, so, you know, I guess my full-time job, I'm self-employed, but I do commercial and corporate work, and so that keeps me busy enough to then afford me the chance to work on the film stuff, which I love doing. So yes, I've done plenty of that. So.
All right, last question. Stephen, you're here every week. You know what I'm going to ask you. So I'm sure you've been studying an answer. So what could we as the Kansas City community do for you guys, CinemaKC, to make you bigger, better, and more awesome?
All right, yeah, I was prepared for that, and here is the big ask. We need connections from you guys, because we have got to facilitate partnerships to take the show and our events and everything we do from being 100% volunteer organized, because the companies that help us and volunteer their time and facilities right now are not going to be able to do that forever. So what we would like to do today, and what we'd like to continue to do, is reach out to you, have you put us in front of the right people to facilitate doing the Black History Month, full month of movie series. We need at least $5,000 to get us off the ground. So we need a partner who wants to be the sponsor for that. We need another $5,000 to do our other February event around the Oscars and Critics, and doing some sort of gala to bring people to the film community. Then the events cost about $2,000 to $3,000 per month, which the event the month before pays for the next event. We'd like to get some sponsors. We'd like to showcase that out. We'd like to do it in a really big way so that we can take what we have and put it in a very public format. So what we're looking for right now is partners and sponsorships, and we want to connect your business with the local film community. We're going to connect your business with the television show. We didn't get a chance to show it, but we run spots thanking our underwriters. And again, we have spots on the website. We have advertising available. You can imagine how that phone call goes when I call a company and I say, hi, I'm from CinemaKC and I want to talk to you about film. No. And that's it. That's as far as the conversations generally go. That's arts money. We all know what it's like asking for arts money, especially right now in Kansas City. So what we need from you guys is that connection. If you can put me, Jerry, Justin, any of the filmmakers in front of the decision maker, or if you would like to talk about how your business can partner up with CinemaKC to help facilitate continued growth within the Kansas City film community.
Great answer. Thank you very much. Let's give it up for CinemaKC.
All right. Great job, guys. Thank you so much. So we've got a few announcements today, and thank you guys so much. I just want to do just a thanks, because we know that it's a holiday week, and we're just really thankful that even this many people show up the day before Thanksgiving, and we know a lot of people are traveling. Even a lot of people at Kaufman are gone today, so we've kind of felt ourselves scrambling around a little bit to figure out how to do a lot of this stuff that Kaufman is always so great about supporting us on. So thank you guys for being here. So a couple announcements real quick. Oh, we got Monica.
Hi, I'm Monica Grossman-Arredondo, and I'm a villager, probably one of the world's oldest villagers, from Kansas City Startup Village. First of all, on this slide, a little disclaimer: if it offends you, I didn't do it. If you really like it, I did it. We're in the neighborhood of Spring Valley, the very first Google Fiber hood on Earth, and home of Kansas City Startup Village. And we're desperately in need of new sidewalks, driveway aprons, and curbs. As KCSV villagers are the new kids on the block, and we're the disruptors, we're really working with the neighbors to help with this project. KCSV gets a lot of foot traffic. We've had visitors from around the world. 45 plus countries, to be exact, have come to see what KCSV is about, to test out our fiber, and to learn how to build startup communities. Mayors from 20 plus states, investors worth over $2 billion, not that we've gotten that $2 billion, but have come through our village, and the list goes on and on. Each time we tour a group, they see sidewalks like that. If they're distracted and talking, it becomes a hazard. We want it to look good, we want people to be safe, and we want to help our neighbors. KCSV has been working with, there's a fabulous community coordinator, but we've been working with her, county and city officials. A contract is given a very fair price, but there's still a gap in funds between what the unified government has available, the amount that the neighbors are contributing, and the balance due. An amount of $1,050 will get the strip from the Kansas City Startup House of Local Ruckus, Hoopla, Leap 2, one block north, all new sidewalks. And that's a highly traveled stretch of KCSV when we bring our visitors on tours. Please consider helping our KCSV neighbors, the first Google Fiber hood ever, and world headquarters of the Get in the Ring Challenge champion iVerify. They are Kansas City Startup Villagers. There are cards on your seats, and Kathy and Britton and I will be standing over here afterwards. If it's $1, $5, $10, if we can meet that goal, that'd be great. It is tax deductible. This is a real quick turnaround. That's why we're coming to you kind of quickly like this. But they need the funds dedicated by next Wednesday, December 4th. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then I have one other quick announcement. Next week, December 4th, actually on the same Wednesday, Startup Grind is meeting again. It's actually going to be at Crimalab's offices. That's my company. But this is I'm really excited about this. If you guys have been in Kansas City for any period of time, you guys have probably heard of Barnett Hellsberg. And so he's going to be actually sitting down. It's kind of a fireside chat, although I really wish we had a fireplace in our office. But anyways, but he's actually, it's very intimate. It's an opportunity really for you to get to sit, ask questions, very, very close, and really pick his brain. He has been such a huge part of the community and part of his hemp program and everything that he does with the universities around here. So if you want an opportunity to do that, check out the meetup page for Startup Grind. And I think there's an Eventbrite for Startup Grind because there's a small cost for that. So, okay, so next up. So this is a former 1 Million Cups presenter. John's already up here and ready to go, but I am really excited because when we got his application, he had said, you know what, hey, we've taken it to the next step. So eBeacons, gosh, how long ago was that?
It's almost a year now.
You were at Google, was it the Fiber Space, right?
Yes,
So we were at the Google Fiber Space the one time I think that we left this building. He got a little featured moment there with 1 Million Cups, and we were over at Fiber. He got to present eBeacons, which is a great idea, but you've taken it to the next level with CommunityBeacons. So let's give him a warm welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. As he said, my name is John Ruiz. I'm the CEO of eBeacons Public Safety Services. I'll just give you a background of what we do. We provide public safety services in the form of web and mobile applications. As you mentioned, last year we actually presented at 1 Million Cups, and that's where we debuted our campus safety solution. So a couple weeks ago, we competed in the Gigabit Challenge with US Ignite and at Google Fiber, and we decided to focus on a solution for neighborhood and community safety. So without further ado, we're presenting CommunityBeacons, which is a community policing platform powered by our eBeacon software. Now, first off, what problems are we addressing here? First off, how can community members ensure their safety while ensuring the safety of their fellow neighbors? Secondly, how can they ensure their safety and work with local police and municipalities while still self-policing within their community? Next, how can communities and their members connect and collaborate on mutual problems? And then lastly, this is a local problem. You guys probably know that Kansas City does have its crime issues. Now, we decided to develop this platform around this emerging concept of community policing. Essentially, it's a collaborative effort between neighborhoods, local police, and city government to kind of rally around these mutual problems. Furthermore, it leverages community partnerships to solve mutual problems such as public safety issues, social disorder, crime prevention, and requesting city services. And some key partnerships in the community policing concept include government agencies, members, community members and their groups, nonprofit organizations, service providers, private companies, and then the media. Now, there's a couple barriers to this community policing concept. First off, there's really no easy access point or organizations of the resources that are out there. And also, it's kind of hard to get people to actually use these existing resources. And really, the major problem that we see is actually connecting, neighborhoods, local government, and local police around these problems. And really navigating some of the websites and looking for some of these resources, it's kind of complicated and might not be the best way to go about it. Now, there are some existing solutions that we like. The first one is the KCMO311 Twitter. These days, all you have to really do is tweet at KCMO311 to file a city service request. We like that because a lot of people have Twitter. There's a low adaptation barrier. And we also like the KC Crime Stoppers form. Essentially, all you have to do to anonymously report a crime is go online and type in all your information. But we wouldn't be here today if we didn't see some room for improvement. So our solution here is CommunityBeacons. It's a platform powered by our existing eBeacon software, but we're tailoring it for usage in communities and neighborhoods. Essentially, it's a next-gen platform that promotes this community policing concept. It facilitates collaboration between the various community groups, and it gives community members an efficient and innovative way to report issues such as crime and requesting city services. And as we mentioned, we did this for the Gigabit Challenge, so our Gigabit killer feature was this smart camera concept that I'll touch on later. And ultimately what we're trying to do is give would-be victims just another tool against crime or harm. So the first aspect of our solution is the CBeacons mobile application, and we decided to focus on 3 core features. The first being an emergency button. When the user hits this emergency button, first off it automatically dials 911. But it also places an interactive beacon on a map so you can see who sent it and where they sent it from. And you can also attach various forms of media such as pictures, video, and you can even live stream your situation. And also the key feature here, I feel like, is this last one. Essentially, if you hit this 911 button and you're in an emergency situation, your neighbors around you will get a push notification so they know that something's going on. So they might even be able to help you out faster than, let's say, a first responder. Second feature is the neighborhood watch button. Essentially, you can create these beacons to give anonymous tips to your neighbors about, some suspicious activity. You can also view some of the active tips in your area in the application. And we also built in a portal to the KC Crime Watchers online forum, so you can anonymously report crime in-app. And the last feature is the 311 button. Similarly, you can request city services in-app, and you can attach various forms of media. And you can also integrate with your Twitter account, so these alerts go directly to the KC 311 Twitter. And here's an example of what the application looks like. The middle screen here is some of the active tips in the area. And the last screen is that portal to the KC Mo Crime Stoppers. And here you see the 311 page. You can see the requests that are in your area. If you noticed, we use the open source logo there for our design. So let me touch on this smart camera concept that we're kind of throwing around here. Essentially what these cameras would do, we would place them in tactical locations around the neighborhood, and using a secondary sign-on, we would access the gigabit infrastructure. And we kind of wanted to cut down on the big brother factor, so we're going to use a non-intrusive surveillance system, meaning that these cameras are perpetually streaming to first responders and neighborhood watch people, but they only save and record activity when an emergency or an anonymous tip comes in. Also, we discussed some other potential implementation. A gentleman from the KC Freedom Network reached out to us. If you're not familiar with the Freedom Network, what they do is bring connectivity to low-income areas and housing using a wireless MET network. And these mesh networks are only used for internal applications, such as a community Craigslist or a community bulletin board. We saw potential to implement this CBeacons platform with that mesh network. Essentially, we would pair a smart camera with a network node. So not only are we bringing connectivity to these low-income housing areas, but we're also increasing safety measures as well. So let me show you how this thing works. Let's do a little live demo here.
We're going to have to do a quick demo because you're out of time.
What's that?
A quick demo because you're out of time.
Okay, quick one. All right. Can't really see here, but all right, so let's say I'm walking down the street. Yeah, I wish we can get this size, but let's say I'm walking down the street and I see someone looking into my neighbor Linda's house. I would go into my application, go to my neighborhood watch button, and like that I can create an alert, suspicious guy looking into Linda's house. As you can see here, it highlights our location on the map. So let's say, similarly, I'm walking down the street and see a pothole, and I want to report that right away. I would follow the request. See here, you can also attach media. So here's a picture of that big pothole, and if you notice, it's linked to our Twitter account here as well. So let's hop back in here. Moving forward, we've done some research on a couple business plans, but what it comes down to is that these communities have really limited budgets. It's a civic service. We'd love to do it for free, but at this point, eBeacons isn't quite worth $1 billion yet, so we can't really afford to do it for free. So we've looked into some other funding options, perhaps some city funding, maybe working with some of these neighborhood associations to crowdfund the platform. Maybe it could come in the form of grants or donations or sponsorships as well. And lastly, to really get this, to really implement the CommunityBeacons platform, we're going to have to evangelize that community policing concept. So it's going to take those key community partnerships. We've already discussed this platform with leaders from the Spring Valley and Rosedale neighborhood associations, and they're all for it. They're very interested. Like I said, the only issue is that budget problem. Some other key partnerships could include partnering, I mentioned earlier, the KC Freedom Network, but also potentially the Kauffman Foundation, Mozilla, US Ignite, or Google Fiber. And lastly, and I feel like the most important partnership, is working with the local government and city municipalities. So we've started the process of talking to the KC Mo and KCK city government. We applied for the KCMO Innovation Partnerships. We're waiting to get some feedback on that. And obviously, if we do work with these governments, that'll give us easier access to the KCPD and the 311 services and any other kind of government service that might see value in using this platform.
All right. Well, we're going to have to cut you off because we're way over time. But thank you. Good job. Let's give him a round of applause. So let's go and open up for questions, but I have one that I want to kick off with. I'd love to find out if you could give kind of a success story or an example of where, I mean, eBeacons has been going for about a year now.
Yeah.
Tell us, is there some good examples of where it's worked and has really solved this problem?
Right. So after our presentation last year at 1 Million Cups, that's when things kind of took off for us, honestly. Made a bunch of new connections, led to us getting some funding from the Digital Sandbox program, and also we landed 2 beta clients. As I mentioned earlier, we debuted our kind of campus safety solution, and I'm still working on getting that implemented at UMKC. If you can imagine, it's kind of hard, going through the steps, dealing with the university client, so we're still going for that. We kind of switched our focus a little bit to private security, so we are working on solutions for private security companies and their existing clients. We're also doing some workforce and tour management solutions for private security, but like I said, we're still moving forward, and I just gave a couple different examples of how we're using it, and this being another one. Essentially, the way we developed our software, essentially it's an in-house API, so we can kind of customize it and tweak it for these different settings. So really, since last year, things have, it hasn't even been a year yet, but it's felt like 40, but I'm still moving along, and we've made some good progress.
Do you have any examples of an actual eBeacon being posted and a response to it?
Oh, right. So like I said, we're working
I'm going to poke a little bit.
Yeah, we're working with private security companies, and we decided to start out with that workforce and tour management just because, it's not emergencies, but it's still useful. We're hoping to go live with the safety applications by the end of January, so keep a lookout for that.
Got it.
Question for you back here.
Hi, the neighborhood president in me is just going crazy, and I could take the entire 20-minute question time all by myself, so I'll try to control myself. I'm the president of a quote-unquote urban core neighborhood with 10,000 residents, and we have 118 followers on Facebook. Technology integration is essentially non-existent, and the barrier of having a smartphone, having a computer, all of those kinds of things, I mean, those are huge issues. I love the 311 Twitter process. I think it's a lot easier, but I mean, 99% of the residents in my neighborhood are just like, what's Twitter? So that's one concern. And then the other concern is that my neighborhood is also 52% Hispanic, and most of those are not primarily English-speaking households. So what about the language barrier and those types of issues as well?
So to address your first question, that's why we are considering partnering with groups such as Connecting for Good or the KC Freedom Network, just because they are already targeting low-income housing to bring connectivity to kind of break down some of those barriers, technology barriers. So basically we kind of piggyback on their movement. Their whole goal is to get these low-income areas connected and using these these applications and using the internet. So that's why we kind of made that play there to work with a group that's already trying to impact low-income communities. As far as your question about Hispanic, if you didn't notice, I'm Hispanic myself, so I could. So we may be able to work something out there. My mom's a Spanish teacher, and she's bugging me and trying to get ways to get involved. So maybe I'll get her to translate or something for us, so we could do that for you.
All right, question here in the middle.
So back in, I think it was September, MessageCube presented. They were the Bluetooth thermal printer for senior citizens or people that don't have the technology. And so I just didn't know if you thought about perhaps partnering with them, because they have a subscription model for their service, and it seems like there'd be some synergy there where you could provide your alerts to them, and perhaps then, a couple dollars a month or whatever, they could come back and support you.
Right. So yeah, I actually looked into them a little bit, and if you guys early in the presentation, I mentioned if an emergency is initiated, it sends like a little broadcast to your neighbors. So there could be a play there. You know, that broadcast includes that printer, so it'll print out if your neighbor is in an emergency situation. So, yeah, it's a good suggestion. I like it.
Question right here next to the column.
Okay, John, I'll take you to two different groups that I know about, Neighborhood Association and another one. I'll challenge any of the rest of you to take him as well. I do have a question, there is one in here, that about the cameras. Are they already located, or how do I get one put on so I can watch my neighbor's house or whatever I need to do?
Right, so the smart camera concept is one that we're still trying to work out. It was actually an idea of the gentleman from KC Freedom Network, Clint Wynn, and he suggested could be a good way to, just to couple that with the network connectivity node. So that's still a process, and if you can imagine, those things are a little expensive, they're not cheap. So that's one of the, hurdles we have to face, like how can we get, something like that camera system funded and kind of implemented and make it a feasible thing. So that's something we're currently looking into.
Question over here.
It's not clear to me yet. Are you looking for organizations to come on board with this, which obviously that would be great, or also can individuals say, I want that app, I don't care if my neighbors have it to be notified or not, I still have access to police and KCMO, and if my neighbor across the street gets it, great, and then it goes viral.
Right. So for the scope of CommunityBeacons, I don't think it can really function without having like a whole community on board. So really what we're looking for is to kind of start creating those neighborhood partnerships and getting actual communities on board. But to answer your second question, we're actually working on a personal safety app as one of our other kind of products for eBeacons. So that's still in the works, so I'll get back to you on that. So follow us on Twitter. We'll keep you updated. We're going to try and launch kind of like that personal safety app. It's kind of our secret project right now, but you kind of got me to spill the beans a little bit, so keep an eye out for that one.
Question here from Rachel.
Hi, John. Congratulations on a year well spent.
Thank you.
I like that you mentioned that you're talking with the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and the police department, and then you did mention an interest in working through the Google Fiber infrastructure. The two neighborhoods that you mentioned specifically in your presentation deck are in Kansas City, Kansas.
Right.
What kind of interest or engagement have you seen from the unified government or from the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department?
I sat down with the Heidi Holliday. She's the leader of the Rosedale Development Association, and she loves it. She wants to do anything she can to help me implement it. So recently she connected me with a couple of representatives from the KCK mayor's office, so we're going through with that. But also KCK, I actually kind of stole this community policing concept from their website. I saw they have a community policing organization. So really how that works is they have officers that, they dedicate some of their free time and some of their off-duty time to respond to like neighborhood watch issues and stuff like that. So really they already have officers that are on board with this community policing concept. So I'm just trying to leverage that. Really the only piece missing is the city government piece, and so we're working on that.
Question up in the front.
Hey, John. So last year when you presented, I know you were also going to school at UMKC. Are you still in school, one? And two, can you talk about what it's like building a company as a student?
So yeah, I'm still in school. I graduate next May. And it's been really beneficial to me because I'm in the Entrepreneurship Scholars Program at UMKC. So essentially what the Scholars Program is, it's basically an accelerator for students and also outside students as well to kind of go through the ropes. It's essentially a CEO boot camp, so that's really been beneficial for me as I'm kind of learning out in the field, doing this in real life. I'm also kind of getting that backup from some of my classes and workshops, so it's been really nice. Also, I actually got a nice little gig as a student entrepreneur ambassador, so I get paid to go talk to classes about eBeacons, so I mean, you can't get a better job than that, especially for a pre-revenue entrepreneur as well, so that was a great, they've been really supported. I think the only thing that's left is they sign on for our campus safety as a campus safety client, so still pushing. Hopefully, if there's any UMKC faculty or staff members, shoot Leo Morton, the chancellor, an email for me. I think we're presenting in a couple weeks here again. We collected some data, some campus safety surveys, so still pushing for that. Hopefully they'll sign on soon.
So actually, I have a question. So I own an application development company. We do UX and UI and apps. So I think this is a great idea. I love what this is. I have a question though, because you talked about the fact that your API is an internal API. How are you guys looking, or have you thought about saying, you know what, we have a really great framework that this could spread, could scale out just based on the framework alone, so we don't have to create the infrastructure. You could let other groups tap on the back of it.
Yeah, so I've discussed it with my partner. He couldn't be here today, my CTO. So we've kind of looked into that. And really, we want to wait till we have some of our, other applications actually live using it. So I mentioned earlier, starting in January, we're going to start doing some of that workforce and tour management app. And essentially, it's using the same framework to track officers in the field and also help them check into some of their patrol points. So once we kind of get that hammered out, then we're going to move into, the safety type stuff, and that's like the live mission critical stuff. So really want to make sure this thing works before we kind of put it out there in the open, since it does deal with emergencies. And if it doesn't work, then the company kind of goes down the drain. So we're going to kind of make sure it works first and kind of harden our development a little bit, and then we'll look into maybe distributing the API.
Okay, great. Any other questions? So I'll talk, go a little bit further where Nate was going there from a from a challenge standpoint. Okay, it's been almost a year, I think, a little short of a year. What are the big challenges that you've come up against? And you're trying to get this out. You're also going to school. I mean, there's just a time challenge itself. Sounds like you have a CTO and yourself. What's your team look like? And what's it? Tell us that story a little bit. What's it been like?
Well, let's see here. I mentioned earlier we got funding from the Digital Sandbox, and so that was back in May. We hit our first big kind of roadblocks. We had a vendor who was going to do our UX and UI and do a little programming for us, but right before we were going to get the funds dispersed, they dropped out and it kind of fell through, so we had to restart the whole process. And we actually got hooked up with a pretty good company in town, Galleon Labs, and so they're going to go in and basically kind of run it through the ringer, do all the design, kind of review some of our code and make sure it can scale and stuff like that. And so starting in January, we're finally going to have that packaged product. As far as being a young entrepreneur in Kansas City, I feel like I've learned a lot of good lessons over this past year. There's definitely a way to go about it in Kansas City, especially as a young entrepreneur. I think the biggest barrier is probably that generational gap between experienced executives and already successful entrepreneurs, and then new young guys like me. So really the best part about my experience is kind of a couple experienced executives and entrepreneurs actually kind of taking me under their wing and kind of told me this is how you do this is how you do that. So I really kind of morphed the way I went about entrepreneurship and stuff like that, but it's really been for the better. So it's always a lesson every day. So learn something new every day. It's great.
Any other questions? So we're close to our time anyways, but we do always like to wrap up, and we know that you've come a little ways. How much left do you have, and how much time do you have left in school?
I graduate next May.
Nice, so it's close.
Home
Okay.
stretch.
So yeah, congrats. What, as you're moving forward, you obviously are getting to that point where you've got a few different projects in the works. CommunityBeacons or something on the side, maybe a personal app, and then of course eBeacons is still pushing. What can we do as a community to support you or make connections for you, or what can we do to help you?
Right, so this platform, it's a community-driven platform, so for it to really impact and make an effect, we need the community behind it. So this whole concept of community policing, it really leverages on, bringing together those community groups. So if you're a member of maybe local city government, if you're an active, neighborhood association member, also if you know anyone, perhaps law enforcement or something like that, essentially we need the community to kind of rally behind this and kind of figure out a way this could actually add value to the community. So the name's CommunityBeacons. For us to succeed, we need the community behind us.
Great job. Thank you very much. All right, again, I want to thank you guys so much for coming out. I know this is kind of corny, but it is Thanksgiving tomorrow, and I'm actually extremely thankful for this community. Where this has been an awesome, over a year that we've been participating in this. Our leadership team is getting ready to figure out how to make that transition to bring on new leaders. And it's kind of bittersweet, right? We're really excited to see it happen, but I want to say thank you to you guys, and I hope that everybody has safe travels tomorrow, and we'll see you guys next time, this time next week. Same time, same place next week. There it is. There it is.